Hey there, this is Matt with State of Flux here with a review for The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. After watching War of the Rohirrim a couple of weeks back, I decided it was time for my channel to dive into The Lord of the Rings. I haven't seen any of these films in over 10 years, and now seems to be about the right time. The Hobbits are an interesting one because I genuinely really like that Hobbit book. It's a great fantasy family film. And I was so excited to watch the movies, and when I heard Guillermo del Toro was making them, I like Guillermo. I just didn't know if he necessarily had the tone that was going to be right to do The Hobbit. I wanted it to connect to the Lord of the Rings much more firmly. So when Peter Jackson was brought on board, I was much more excited about it. But then ultimately, I think the Peter Jackson of it all was its undoing, and not his fault. I want to be very clear. I don't think that the problems with these Hobbit movies have anything to do with Peter Jackson necessarily, outside of him trying to be so adherent to connecting it to Lord of the Rings. I think that's largely on him. I think it's all to do with the studio, who demanded that his 2 scripts be turned into 3. And when you have one 400-page book splitting it into 3 3-hour movies is bananas, considering that he made 3 400-page books into an individual movie apiece. That's kind of crazy. That being said, the best of the Hobbit movies is the first one. And the extended edition of the first one, I think, is the strongest cut of it, keeping in line with the extended editions of the original Lord of the Rings trilogy. That being said, that will not continue moving forward. We'll discuss as we get there. But the best things that The Hobbit has going forward is it looks great. It has an exceptional cast of Martin Freeman replacing Ian Holm. Ian Holm is there to kind of guide you into the transition back in time to Martin Freeman, but he is incredibly good in the film. And obviously, in bringing back Ian McKellen and Andy Serkis, these are inspired choices. They're incredible actors. They work. But the movie itself is a direct adaptation of The Hobbit, the first 120 pages or so. So every single line in that book is represented in the film. They leave nothing out. And this is kind of the importance of adaptation, because with an adaptation, you need to adapt it into the medium. Doing a translation direct from page to screen doesn't always work. And I think this film is the perfect example of that. There's an amazing movie buried in this film, but it needs, somebody to go in and trim the fat from it. And I think that every single scene in this movie goes on just 1 minute too long. If you shave 1 minute out of every single scene in the movie, you're going to have a much tighter film, a movie that flows better, and a movie that isn't so burdened by excess. We'll revisit this in the next film, but I think that this movie does enough right. It has the greatest moments from the book that you remember, sans the dragon battle. All are represented in this first chapter of the trilogy. The fight with the trolls is pretty fun and engaging, and the confrontation with Gollum is every bit as fantastic as you'd want it to be. The flee from the goblins is great. All that stuff works. The action in this film, I think, is pretty largely strong. And they get it right by casting Martin Freeman and Ian McKellen and whatnot. The dwarves are all well cast. The dwarves are not all well rounded. You don't understand or get a lot from their characters outside of Thorin, and maybe Dwalin and Balin. But besides them, you really don't get much of the characters. Fili and Kili get established a little more in the second one, but really it's just those 5 that have kind of anything to do. And that is also noticeable when compared to the fact that there are the same amount of characters in this trilogy as there are in The Lord of the Rings. Yet I fully understand how everybody runs and operates in Lord of the Rings. I don't know half of the names of the dwarves in here. That's also part of the Tolkien text, but it's like damning in its adaptation. I still really like this film. I give it a firm 3.5 out of 4 stars. I vibe with it so well, and it doesn't really bother me that it takes about 45 minutes for the Hobbit to actually start his adventure, because I'm appreciating the performance work that Freeman is doing, and also just the general look of the film. But yeah, there's a lot that you could trim out. I would get rid of the whole rock mountain battle thing. Like, that's kind of completely pointless. Every scene goes on just a little too long, and do we really need to be introduced to Azog this early? Probably not. I get why you want to have your big villain, but it was nice seeing the round table of the 4 powerhouses, Elrond and Galadriel and Saruman. That's fun, but what did you think of this film? Let me know in the commentary down below. Is this your favorite Hobbit movie? I've met multiple people who say this is the worst. They're crazy. This is easily the best of the 3. I would like to hear from you. Let me know in the commentary down below. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Peace.